Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k. So in this video I want to talk about some units that I believe are going to make a comeback for 10th edition for the Necrons. Now these units that I'm going to talk about today, they weren't highly used in 9th edition. Some of them were, I guess, but I definitely won't be using them for the 9th edition. And 10th edition, I think I can see them coming back, and I've got reasons to believe so as well. So let's kick this thing off. In fact, the first are going to be 3 units, not 1. And it's all of the Sautekh Dynasty HQs, where there's 3 in fact. There's Imhotep the Stormlord, there's Vargard Oberon and Nemesis Andrek. All 3 of them were tied to the Sautekh Dynasty, which wasn't the most prolific dynasty that you could use in 9th edition. There were better options, well pretty much it was the worst option I believe. And it meant that you never were going to take these named characters. And even if you did play the Sautekh Dynasty, the likelihood is you maybe selected Imhotep the Stormlord, and that was about it. Now, with this new 10th edition, with the new articles that have come out from the Warhammer community, they've effectively said that all of the sub-factions as you currently know them will no longer exist. And they went on to some examples with the Tyranny Codex and the Space Marine Codex. The sub-factions are no longer there. So for the Tyrannies, they don't have those generic high fleets that we've known about for quite a number of years now. There's no Kraken High Fleet, Leviathan High Fleet, the Hydra High Fleet. They've all gone out the window. They've got these more unique playstyle High Fleets, and I believe the one they've introduced now is the Invasion High Fleet. So that's not specific to either the Kraken High Fleet. Again, all of those High Fleets that we know from 9th edition, it's none of those. It's a complete new addition. So it almost feels like an army of renown in a sense. But that is going to be how we play 10th edition. That's going to be our detachments. We're no longer going to have those dynasties or high fleets or chapters. Whatever you want to use in 9th edition, they are no longer there. So the Sautekh Dynasty, now don't get me wrong, they may change this up. It may get completely flipped up with some upcoming articles in the next month or so. But as it currently stands, I don't believe there is going to be a Sautekh Dynasty. So that could potentially mean Imhotep the Stormlord, Vargard Oberon, and Nemesis Andrek. Maybe they could be selected for any of the dynasties that they give us. Now I believe when the index comes out, we're only going to be getting 1 dynasty in that index, and then when we get our codex, whenever that will be, that's when more will follow. But in the generic index, they can't miss out Imhotep the Stormlord, they can't miss out Nemesis Andrek, so they've got to go into all of the dynasties that they provide. So that's why I think there's going to be a comeback for those 3 in particular. Now obviously we don't know their rules, we don't know their abilities, we don't know their stat line, we don't know how they're going to play out. But the fact that they just weren't selectable in 9th edition and now they will be selectable will make a massive difference for all 3 of those characters. Now I want to move on to the next one here, which is the Transcendent Ctan. Now don't get me wrong, the Transcendent Ctan shard was actually a pretty good option for 9th edition. But where they gave us that flowchart, was it last week or the week before, they gave us a flowchart of how you're going to be selecting your detachment. You can select 3 of one single datasheet. You can select up to, 1 character and 1 epic hero. Now I still believe epic heroes are the named characters, and it says 1 of each epic hero, so 1 of each named character, if that is what it is. So Transcendent Ctans, they are not named. So as far as we can see is we can take 3 Transcendent Ctans in a single list because it's 3 of the same datasheet. They're not epic heroes, they're not going to break any of the restrictions that that Games Workshop have literally provided us within their articles. So I think where we've gone from only being able to select 1 or 2 Ctan shards in a single list, I think now we can select 3 of these, and then further ones on top of that. We can select 1 of the epic heroes, of each epic hero, so 1 Nightbringer perhaps, 1 Void Dragon perhaps. So there's a lot more opportunities to bring Ctan shards to a single game. So I think we're going to see a lot more Transcendent Ctan shards because they're the cheapest ones of all of them, and they are still pretty good. That's what they currently are in 9th edition anyway. Next on my list, I want to talk about the Canoptek Reanimator, one of my bookends if you like. It came out at the start of 9th edition and it went straight on the shelf, and yeah, you guys know I have a severe dislike for the Canoptek Reanimator, and the reason being is it just didn't, kind of because of the codex creep. All the codexes that came out, one after the other, got stronger and stronger and stronger. AP become more crazy, everything had AP at that, you know, by the time the 3rd or 4th codex came out, everything had AP, everything was doing damage, everything was resilient, everything can wipe out a unit of 20 warriors in a single fighting phase or shooting phase, and the Canoptek Reanimator became kind of useless. But now that AP has been completely reset, I think the Reanimator may, and I say may, have a place in 10th edition. Now not only that, we still don't know what our army-wide rule for Necrons is going to be, and I likely would suspect that it's going to be something to do with our reanimation, because that's our big thing, being very resilient, being hard to shift, always coming back. So when you add that alongside something such as a Canoptek Reanimator, now of course it may not have the same ability, but something that can bring models back, that's going to massively benefit Necrons overall, because AP has gone, or AP has been reset. It's not gone. There's still going to be guns in the game and weapons in the game that have AP, but it's not going to be absolutely insane like it has in 9th edition. So therefore, our 20-man warrior blobs aren't going to go just like that. They're going to be much more resilient, and when you've got Canoptek Reanimators or Technomancers, for example, bringing warriors back, doesn't have to be warriors, but bringing models back in general, I think it's going to be much more important in the Necron game than it was in 9th edition. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. I think they may come back. The next one on my list today is the Hexmark Destroyer. Now, a lot of people seem to forget that the Hexmark is a character, and with the new rules and restrictions for building a detachment for 10th edition, you don't need a HQ anymore. You simply need a character. That's all you need to promote to a warlord, and that could in fact be a Hexmark Destroyer, believe it or not. Now there may potentially be some rules with the Royal Court, which we had in 9th edition. We don't know yet, we don't have all the information of course, but the Hexmark Destroyer has the character keyword. We may not need HQs, we may not even need troops, which means everything we did need at the start of 9th edition just to build a basic battalion detachment or a basic patrol detachment, everything we needed at that stage, we now know that we don't need it anymore. It's kind of crazy really. So Hexmark Destroyer could be our warlord. We could potentially put the enhancement on the Hexmark Destroyer. There's going to be no taxes again, HQs, troops. So the Hexmark could potentially see some play if we didn't want to spend points on HQs, because in 9th edition our HQs were quite expensive and it did feel like a massive tax. So yeah, watch this space with the Hexmark Destroyer. Now the last one I want to mention today is the Annihilation Barge. Now it's not just the Annihilation Barge, it could potentially be Tesla weapons in general. Strength 7, no AP, 1 damage, that was what it used to be with exploding 6s, where it actually exploded to 2 additional hits. That may get reduced to 1 with the new crucial hits thing that they brought out recently. But now that AP doesn't have much of an effect as it used to be, having 0 AP isn't a big deal. And if you've got opportunities to make more hits with Tesla weapons, that's providing that Tesla to stay as it used to be with exploding 6s, then our Tesla weapon vehicles could actually be really good. Annihilation Barges are the obvious one here. They were pretty good in older editions. I mean, even a Night Scythe, I very rarely use that fly now because the weapon is kind of garbage. Once you've got your guys in from reserves, the flyer pretty much didn't do anything. It wasn't scoring secondaries, it wasn't really killing anything because of that weapon. But now that AP is no longer a massive deal at this moment in time, then yeah, maybe Tesla weapons are coming back. So you can also look towards the Immortals with the Tesla carbines. The Tomb Blades have also got Tesla weapons. There's lots of Tesla in our codex, providing they still keep those Tesla weapons, of course. So guys, yeah, that is some units that I believe are going to make a comeback for 10th edition due to what we know so far. I mean, at the moment in time, I'm on the 7th of April. So I've just had an article this morning, in fact, explaining how detachment's going to work in a little bit more detail with the stratagems and all that good stuff. So there'll be more to come, and I'll keep providing videos and trying to merge it to our current codex and trying to get the best out of it so that we can get better and ready for 10th edition. In fact guys, before I go, don't forget about the giveaway ongoing. When we hit 10k subscribers, we will be doing our giveaway announcement, and we will be selecting a winner for this box set right here, which is the Elite Edition starter set. I keep calling it the Command Patrol box set. It's not, it's the Elite Edition starter set. So we've got that in our current giveaway. For more information, there will be a link in the description down below. So guys, that is all from me today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.